2, 3, 4.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Power of Music Thinking. My name is Christoph Zürn, and this is the podcast for people with a musical heart and a wicked job. We're looking for stories, insights and tools from the big world of music to inspire leaders and followers to listen, tune, play and perform in whatever field you're operating. Welcome to a new episode of The Power of Music Thinking. And thank you for tuning in, because without you listening, it wouldn't make any sense. Today you can listen to a conversation with Helene Seiyu Codjo and to the sound of the Shakuhachi. Helene is Shakuhachi performer, composer and teacher. Yes, and she's my teacher. Because some years ago I started learning the Shakuhachi with the idea to learn a new instrument from scratch. And that's what I talk about in the Power of Music Thinking book. At the end, I have different exercises in the book, and one exercise I called life exercise for leadership and followership. So the joy of learning a new instrument is a skill every leader should experience, because it sets you back to the very beginning of listening, understanding, learning, trying, repeating, and eventually mastering. It gives you time to experience yourself in the learning process. And, any instrument from electrical guitar to violin, they are great to learn. So just follow your instinct and play the guitar or play the instrument that you have ever wanted to learn. But in the book, I have 3 suggestions. So if you didn't choose one, you could dive into electronical instruments and with the apps and with the like on your iPhone or on your iPad or other smartphone. Another one is the ukulele, which is a very collaborative instrument, very easy to play, and we will do in the very near future a whole episode about the ukulele and the ukulele player. But today it's about the shakuhachi. And so if you're interested in sound meditation or breathing ritual, learning completely new way of scoring. So the way how the shakuhachi is scored is very different. Experiencing music and learning for personal improvement. So that's what, the shakuhachi is for me, or that was my motivation. But before we start with the interview, some of you might not know or not heard the shakuhachi. So we start with Helene playing the shakuhachi, so it's a recording, and then we dive into the conversation. Have fun. Hello, Helene. Welcome to the Power of Music Thinking.
Hello, Christoph. Thank you for having me.
It's so nice to talk with you. And by the way, last Friday we did this in real life, so and with a nice barbecue at your house, where let's say some of your students came together. So really nice to see you again, and finally talk about the shakuhachi and everything that you do. But first, I want to start with a question. What was your first memorable sonic experience or record or a concert that had an impact on you?
Yeah, so I think actually I'm not from a family of musicians. My mother had a lot of LPs, so when I was a child, I would love to listen to her LPs, and it was classical music. And my favorite was Beethoven Fifth Concerto, piano concerto, the Emperor, and especially the transition between the second and third movements. It was for me absolutely mesmerizing. So it was a LP, so I couldn't play it again and again as we could do now. But yeah, it was really something was very strong, something very magical for me, this Beethoven concerto. So I wanted to learn piano, but my parents didn't agree. So I actually, after some years, I could enter the music school in flute. But I think I kept something very strong inside me with piano music. And the first, most memorable concert for me when I was a teenager was a piano concert given by Miguel Ángel Estrella. Don't know if you've heard of him. He's an Argentinian pianist. And during the dictatorship in Argentina, he escaped and he went to Uruguay, and then he was put in jail. And he had a mute keyboard to keep on practicing. And after a lot of time, I think 2 years, 3 years, then he was released, and he came back to France because he learned, he studied in France, and some of the his French friends, artists, helped him out of jail. And he started his career again, giving performances. I think it was in 1980.
Okay.
And I think I heard him at the very beginning of his first tours in 1981 or something like this. And I cannot really explain, but when he entered the stage and he started to play, there was all this suffering, all these years of not being allowed to play, and the joy of playing in public again, and that was so strong that it was absolutely unconscious at this time. But
did you know his story that he was allowed to play?
Sorry?
Did you know the story that he was not allowed to play? So,
yeah. I think it was written in the program because I didn't know him at all at the time. Actually, I went to a festival with my godmother to listen to flute music, to a flute concert, Jean-Pierre Rampal. And my godmother managed to get also tickets for this concert. So we had an extra concert. It was a piano concert. So I was very happy because I already liked piano a lot. But we didn't know this pianist. So I think it was written in the program note. I cannot really recall. But then it's when I think unconsciously that I realized that there was more to music than having fun, play with friends, but it was beautiful. But it could be something to a reason for living, something who could help you go through difficult moments, and I think it made something. Maybe it's the moment I decided to become professional. But I cannot say it was not conscious. But when I thought back, what was my most memorable concerts back to this time, it was this concert that came.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And where was it, by the way? In France or?
Yeah, in France, La Chaise Dieu. It's still a very famous festival in the summer for classical music.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about your background and how you came to the flute, to the flute and the shakuhachi flute.
Yeah, so I always loved music, and we had a recorder teacher at the primary school. But I wanted, like I said, I wanted to learn piano, but my parents didn't want. So I insisted for 2 years or something that I absolutely wanted to learn a music instrument. And this recorder teacher at the school, he knew the flute teacher of the conservatory. So then I applied and I was accepted. It didn't matter for me any instrument as long as I could play music. As long as I was not allowed to choose my instrument, which was piano, then any other instrument would do. So I started with the flute, and I was also interested quite. I liked other style of music. I started as a classical musician, but I played in a big band in the jazz big band at the music school, and I like also world music. And when I started to travel, I started to collect flutes from other countries, and also to listen to music from the world. It's before the time of internet, so it's when you would go to the library and have already CDs. That was already quite some technology. It was the time of the LPs, and then it also.
So that's nice to collect flutes because they are more or less, let's say, cheap or easy to carry. So it's not a piano.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. It's really the advantage of a flute. You find flutes in every country, and it's really an instrument you can carry to have with you. So when you are in the fields for shepherds, they have a flute. So I think I liked this simplicity of the flute. And then one day I found a CD of Japanese music. I said, "Oh, Japanese! I don't know the music yet." So and it was a CD of Shakuhachi. Yamaguchi Goro, the shakuhachi player, and it was really a shock. I was so
what was the
touched.
shock? What was so different? Can you explain that?
Everything, the sound. I was touched deeply by the sound of the flute, and the music was so different. It was always the same and there was so little variation, and I don't know, I was also just mesmerized, so I couldn't stop listening to the CD, and it was something magical. It's difficult to explain while you are touched or by something. But I think it's combination, the sound of the flute and the music, so the traditional music. So I thought, this is it.
And so a different kind of listening, because when you're trained in classical music, you're trained to listen to melody and play melody, and also to harmonics and how these melt together. And you played in an orchestra, and you were a teacher at that time?
Yeah, I was a teacher. I played in chamber music with piano and with guitar, with harp, with different kind of chamber music, and also from time to time in orchestra, at a very standard classical musician life. Knew nothing about Japan, nothing about shakuhachi, and I don't know, but I thought one day if I go to Japan, I want to buy shakuhachi and to try myself.
Yeah, because if you heard it on a CD, you didn't know how it looked like and how it worked, because the shakuhachi is very different to a normal flute.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just had the picture. I think like of this picture of Yamaguchi Goro playing, and I didn't even think about it. How do you play it? Or think it was more one day. If I go to Japan, I will try to find it, and
Mm.
it stayed like this in my mind. It slept, and it's only very I don't know how long, almost 10 years later, but or more than 10 years later. No, I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's a really long time. Several years later, when a colleague of mine, she was going to Japan, and she said, "Yeah, I'm going to Japan. Would you like something?" And then it came back. Oh yeah, shakuhachi. And at this time, well, at that time, I was living in Paris. And then she said, "Oh my, I can do better. I know somebody giving lessons, shakuhachi lessons. Would you
Mm.
like me to introduce you, to connect you with him?" So I said, "Of course." And it's how I met my first teacher in
Ah,
Paris.
that's funny. That's funny. That's, by the way, also my story, because I knew the shakuhachi, and I liked the sound very much. But that's something also from years ago. But I don't know, 4 years or 5 years ago, I had the idea to do calligraphy, so the Japanese way of painting.
Hmm?
And then I was looking in the internet, and then I found you that in the same city there's a teacher. So I thought, wow, now that's even better. Why paint? So that's why how I came to learn to also to learn the shakuhachi. So that's my part of it. And in former, some listeners might know, in some of the episodes before, Japan and shakuhachi was mentioned. So first was mentioned in the episode with Ato Yashke, with the music and the brain, and he's a double bass player, and he said when he was at music school, there was a teacher, she also played shakuhachi. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what is it also about. Is it played in an orchestra? Is it played alone? Yeah, can you take us with you in the shakuhachi world?
I'll try. So it's a bamboo flute. It looks very simple, just 5 holes, and so it's pentatonic scale, so just 5 notes, and it's not really clear. Most people think it comes from China, and then it developed like every music instrument. But at the moment, it was played in Japan by monks, Buddhist monks, for spiritual training, so spiritual and breathing training. So they started to compose music to support their practice of the breathing practice, and they played in temples. They were also begging monks, wandering monks, komuso, monks of nothingness. So
Mm.
they had a kind of basket on their
A
head.
beehive. It looks like a beehive on the
Yeah,
head.
the tengai. So it was like being no one anymore. You don't see who is under the basket. So you get you let go of your ego.
Mm.
You are no one anymore, and and but and they would go on the roads, and they would beg for their life, and playing shakuhachi. So there was also specific tunes they would play when they would meet each other. Um, and so at that time it was more the traditional repertoire is solo repertoire. So it doesn't mean that you don't play together. You can gather and play all the same piece together. But the specificity of a music is that you have no fixed rhythm. So it's not improvised, but you don't have a beat like you have in classical music and most of Western music and most of traditional musics too. The rhythm is based on the length of a breath, and then you have
Right.
several notes that you have to play. So some are short, so some are long. You have some ornaments, and it's very complex actually, but it's based on the length of your breath, of your breathing. So it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
So it's a different way to play together when we have to play the same piece. But it's also a lot of solo practice, because also meditation practice, so spiritual practice.
I think that's so interesting because when let's think about different musics of the world. Most of the musics are played for someone or together with other people, and it looks like this is primarily for some kind of meditation, to find yourself, to be in unison with your own breath.
Yeah, you're in Zen. You have Zazen, silent meditation. You have sutras, chanting with the verse from the Buddha, and they created this extra practice for breathing training, and part of it was for the spiritual practice. But also when they were begging, then they played for people. They played specific pieces to survive. Because what I didn't say, it's also that there was a period of peace in Japan, very long period, and you have these samurais, so the knights, the warriors. They were unemployed.
Yeah.
Because there was no war for a very long period. So they were at the top of the society, and suddenly they had nothing more. And they gathered and they created this sect, this Fuke sect of Shakuhachi monks. And I think it was also a way to express themselves. So there is a lot of nostalgia and a lot of silence also in the music. And this went on until the end of the 19th century, when the emperor came back, the Meiji, and then most of a lot of Buddhism temples, Buddhist temples, and a lot of things related to the Buddhism were destroyed, and the Shakuhachi was forbidden for a while, and it came back through chamber music with koto and shamisen, so two string instruments, Japanese string instruments, as an accompaniment. So there you need to have a rhythm.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not all Shakuhachi music which is without rhythm. You need to have a beat, to agree on a beat, and it started again. But the tradition, the Zen tradition, continued secretly for the years. It was forbidden, and then it started again. And then it went more from a meditation instrument to a music instrument. And in the 20th century, you had new schools of Shakuhachi with new music, more influenced by Western music. But the Zen tradition is something that still touches the foreigner outside of Japan. So there are a lot of people coming to Shakuhachi because of from a meditation side, or from the sound and the traditional music more than the modern music.
So they are seduced by the sound of the shakuhachi.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that in Japan, in the, let's say not in the last 20 years, but in the years before, that young, I think most of the time men, everybody had some kind of shakuhachi teacher, and to learn the instrument and maybe also to meditate. Do you know a little bit more about this?
I don't really know, but I know there is not only the meditation side of shakuhachi. Shakuhachi was also used as a flute for folk music. So this part I don't really know, but I know that it was very common also to have a shakuhachi to play folk tunes for entertainment, for dances, so it's another kind of music, but still shakuhachi. And then it was also with other music instruments, over flutes, drums. But then this I know less this side of so I don't know how ancient it is. And
Yeah, I just want to, I'm asking it because I want to make a link between something that I wrote in the book and you know, I would say with most of the people I have a conversation on this podcast, it's about how beautiful or how good it is to learn a musical instrument. And in the way that also we're talking about leadership and also about followership. So when are you leading? When are you following? And how does these go together? And so you have to listen to others and to try to tune in, to try to find out in what rhythm or what beat we're playing. So as you just said, there is actually no beat, but how can we play together? I think that's an interesting thing to learn. And also, on the other hand, to master an instrument. And I think from my own experience, the shakuhachi is not an easy instrument to play, and maybe it's also not easy to master that instrument. So it's some kind of a, let's say, you start something, and it might only turn out in 10 or 20 years that you have the idea that you're playing it very well. I recall last Friday with the other students, I think someone said, okay, now I'm playing since 10 or 15 years, and now I think now I get the idea of it.
Yeah, it can be a very long process. That's true. It works on layers. You have in the traditional music, you have a quite not small, but a fixed repertoire. Yeah, a number of pieces that you learn and that you play your entire life. I mean, when you go to music school to learn Western instrument, you have the pieces for the beginning, and then the more skilled you become, the more difficult pieces you learn to play. But it would not come to the idea of a top solist to play the 1 year piano beginner piece in a concert. Right. And in shakuhachi music, you don't have this concept of beginner. So that makes the difficulty also, because the traditional music, so what we call honkyoku, so, kyoku is music and hon is original music for shakuhachi. There's nothing simple. The instrument looks easy, but technically it's really complex and difficult already to make a sound, and to have and to find it back and to have the right pitch is, for me, it's as difficult as violin.
Right.
For the sound. And then the music itself is also very difficult, because you learned a basic scale, the pentatonic scale, but this you don't use. You use over notes already at the beginning. You use the basic scale for folk music or children's songs or these kind of things. And in Japan, they start with it. But here, most people, they want to play honkyoku from the beginning, and it's really difficult. And then you learn different pieces, and then you go back to the first pieces you learn, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper. So that's why after 10 or 15 years, playing the same tunes, do you start to think, I think I start to understand it and to master it. Because you cannot master all the things from the beginning, and you cannot stay on the same piece. Well, you could stay for the same piece for 10 years, but most of the people here, they want to learn a lot of different music, and it's the way we are used to. And in Japan, there are some temples where are just one or two pieces in their repertoire, and they play just this one or two pieces with their entire life.
Oh, wow. To really focus on one thing, and then it's much more than just playing a song. I recall Kyorei is, I think you told me, it's the easiest and also the most difficult piece.
Yeah, absolutely. That was what was said, because Kyorei is the piece I start with my students, because there are not too many techniques. So it's not too many notes also. So, and it's only one octave. So for it works for everybody. But then, if you want to play it really well, it has so much stability of a sound, so much confidence in what you or acceptance of what's coming out of your flute, that to play it in concert, it's very challenging, because sometimes when you have very difficult things, when you have to play a lot of notes very fast, and you can a bit hide behind your technical scales. But in Kyorei, there is nothing to hide behind, so you are naked on stage with your flute.
Piece of bamboo in your
And
mouth.
it's a bamboo, and there is nothing you can hide. So behind, so if you are a bit tense and the sound doesn't come well, or you're shaking a bit, the audience will hear everything. It's like they see you totally transparent. So it needs a lot of mastering to play it, and it's still played in concerts. So it's not a beginner piece. It's just you have to begin somewhere.
Yeah, but I think it's very charming to, let's say, to play the same piece when you start, and to play the same piece when you go out on a stage and play it for many people. I think that's a very charming thing. So it's not about the piece itself; it's about you. And I think that's the link also with the meditation, and I also feel when I play this in the morning, for example, then let's say the flute tells you how good you are, so how you feel. So it's really clear. Okay, today is that kind of day. So I think that's really special with that instrument. It might be also with other instrument, but because you have to have a certain embouchure and we should also mention, or you mentioned that we only have 5 holes in the flute, but everything in between you not only do with the fingers but also with the hand position.
Yeah, it's quite a complex technique to have all the chromatic scale and also all the notes between the scale. And I mean, the technique is not the goal here. Actually, the goal for Shakuhachi player is one sound. The concept of Ichion Jobutsu, one sound that contains all the sound, and the attainment of enlightenment through a perfect single tone. So it's not about playing as many notes as possible. It's more as achieving one good single tone.
Yeah.
So it's totally different.
It's also listening into the sound. So if sometimes when I play Shakuhachi music and you don't do it very loud, let's say from the CD player, then people might think it's boring. But if you really listen to it, it's not boring at all. It's just the whole world opens up with that kind of sound.
Yeah, it's deep listening to the sound, and that's why I say also layers. It's the more you practice and you play, the more layers also you build inside your sound.
Yeah. So let's say I think it's such a special instrument. It's not comparable with other instruments. I also played the didgeridoo, and but that's totally different. There, it's about rhythm, about music. It's also about breath, but it's about circular breathing, and the shakuhachi is so. It's such an open thing. So the link with you as a person, with the breath, and also with the nature.
First, it's a bamboo flute, so it comes from a natural material. You have also different types of shakuhachis, but they're all in bamboo, and a special bamboo growing in Japan. And there is a lot of influence of Zen Buddhism in the music, as I said, but also a lot of natural sounds, a lot of imitation of natural sounds, and pieces about nature like Takiotoshi, the waterfall, so Kakuraibo, the nesting of the cranes, and Shikanotone, the deer, the call of a deer. So nature has a big influence in the music, on the music for shakuhachi. But I think also that the monks I was talking about, the monks who composed this music for shakuhachi, they were living in temples, but it's not temples with thick walls. And if you think of the temples, the walls, the paper walls in Japan. And there were also a lot on the roads, and the roads, not the roads of now, the roads of without cars and highways. And so there was a lot of natural sounds. So I can imagine they were just putting in the music that they listen. When you Mugaiji is the flute, the flute on the misty ocean. So it's very poetical. I think it's also very in all Japanese arts, the place of nature in Japan and in Japanese art. So also in shakuhachi, of course.
But you played outside, and in April you invited me to also play together outside. And if you want, we can, let's say, listen a little bit, a minute or a little bit more about just a recording that we did outside. Shall we do it?
Yeah.
this was right in the nature. In that case, to shakuhachis improvising or playing, and then we hear a lot of everything that you hear, not that all the sounds that are already there, but most of the time you might not pay attention. We hear birds, we hear cars, we hear aeroplanes. Can you tell us a little bit more, because there was also a nice story when you played outside and then wild horses came to listen.
Yeah, so playing outside in the polder, it's just close to where I live. It started with the pandemic, because with the pandemic everything was closed. And as a professional musician, you play for an audience. You don't play just in your room. So after a while, I was so frustrated. I decided I'm going to play outside, because outside is still allowed. And I like birds, and I say let's play outside and listen to birds at the same time. And indeed, when you play outside, you hear a lot more than just what you play. Actually, there is no silence. There's always sound, natural sounds, not only birds but leaves, wind, cracking things, and dogs, and human activity, and when I play outside, at least I become much more aware of everything that's going on at the moment. So I started to play outside and record it and post the videos on Facebook, YouTube, and people liked it. So I think everybody is also locked down in big cities, in small apartments. Not everybody, but some people I knew they are locked down in Paris in some in small apartments. So if I can show them a bit of the Dutch nature, and they can hear birds and me playing along, so it's how I started it. And actually, yeah, I love birds. So there are a lot of birds coming. Different moments in the season, so we have different songs or so, and so I started to listen more and more to birds as well, and it was also a way to challenge my memory, my memory, how to play by heart, because we are so used to playing concert hall with notation and standing and in good acoustic conditions. When you play outside, actually it's horrible, because it's dry. The acoustic is dry. There is noise. There is wind, or there is too much sun, or it's cold, or it's it starts to rain, and so it's quite challenging. But then you have so much space, and invites you to listen to the space around you, and to the silence of between the notes, and it really deepens the way for me to understand also and to play honkyoku. And you never know what will happen. So one day I was playing and making a little video in at a place, and when I finished, I noticed that the wild horses in the polder, they were coming to me. So normally you have to keep 25-meter distance with them, but they don't know this rule. So they are quite curious, so they came closer by, and then I thought, it's great, so let's play and see how they react. But they are wild animals, so I was not totally sure if I should do it or not, but I said, let's start and let's see how they react. It was just a small group of 7 horses. I saw them before, so I saw it. I knew it was not the big group of 40 to 50 horses. So I started to play, and then they came really, really close by, and it was great, because you could see they were listening and a bit curious, and is it safe also with this strange person with this kind of of wooden stick making some noise, and and then as I was standing still and just playing, they came really 1 meter from me to
Wow.
eat. So when I finished, I had some horses really close by, so that I was very slowly packing up my stuff and then leaving the place. But it was strong because it's a way to connect with animals, with nature. And actually, when I play shakuhachi outside, I have this deep feeling of being part of something greater, and to be part of it, to be part of all things. And I don't feel alone. I don't feel lonely, and especially during the pandemic, to have this feeling of being connected with something bigger, connecting also with everybody, in a way, and not feeling alone or lonely or disconnected or separated. It was really really important, and it helped me through this period, actually playing outside and sharing it with videos to inspire other people and to connect with other people. And when I play in concert hall or when I play in my room here, I always, actually, in my mind, I'm outside, I'm in the field.
Right.
I connect to this. It's like I have it in myself, and I connect to this when I play shakuhachi music also inside, and I try to share it, even if we are in a concert hall with other people.
Oh, beautiful. That's really beautiful story, and it's also a beautiful place. And I like very much that connecting thing. So being a part of, and not just playing for someone, but maybe also playing together because you listen. Did did the horses and the presence of the horses, did it change your playing? Did you play even more calm, or did they make any noise? Was there an interconnection, or was it more, let's say, some kind of landscape, soundscape?
Yeah, I played a real piece. So at the beginning, I was a bit nervous. So you can hear it. I can hear it at least. But then they were coming closer by. So I think, should I stop? Should I go on? Should I stop? But then I just played the way I play. And I noticed they were not afraid or scared, or they didn't react strongly to the music I played. And shakuhachi is a soft sound, and I didn't play anything high or using. It was quite. It was a quiet piece, a traditional piece, but a quiet piece. But I could see they were listening and then looking and then continuing eating. I mean, when animals are eating, they feel safe. That's my feeling. So I thought, oh, okay, they are doing their thing, I'm doing my thing, and, and we just are together, and it's nice.
Oh, that's beautiful, and this is also on film, on a video. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
made a
yeah.
video of that situation. So everybody who is now interested and say, "Oh, I want to see this," it's easy. You can do this. Helene, thank you very much. You're very busy on YouTube. So if people would like to connect with you, and I think we should also tell people that it's possible to have shakuhachi lessons also online via Zoom. So we did this also in the pandemic. So
Yeah.
please share how should people contact you and what's interesting to see.
I have a website which is called ichirishakuhachi.com. Ichiri is the name of a school, of the master, name given by our master to the school, Ichiri Kai. It's also the spirituality of Shakuhachi. So there I have some blog posts and videos, and then I have a YouTube channel which is Helene Seiyu Shakuhachi. So Seiyu is my artist name.
Yeah,
my
right.
Name.
Yeah, tell us. So Seiyu, then that's you got that name from your master, right?
Yeah, from my master, Fukuda Teruisa, so the founder of the Ichirikai school. So when you want to become professional, you need a license from your master. It's called a Shihan. It's a teaching license, and some schools also give a special name, an artist name at this occasion. So I got the name Seiyu. Actually, in Japanese, Hijiri and Sei, it's the same kanji that you can read different ways. I don't speak any Japanese, so I cannot really explain, but I know that it's the same kanji. So Ijiri Sei, it's the same thing. It's the saint, it's holy, it's the spiritual side. And you, it's kindness. So that's the name he chose for me. It's what he sees in me. So kind of holy kindness.
Cool. So I think the wild horses have felt this holy kindness too. Right. So thank you very much, Helene. Thank you for being on the podcast. And I will put everything in the show notes so that people can contact you and also can have online lessons if you still are doing this. So
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christophe. And happy blowing to you.
Thank you. Yes, I will do my best. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate this because listening is one of the top leadership skills, and I feel honored about this. It is my mission to find, create, and share inspirations for meaningful collaboration based on music analogies. If you want to support this, please subscribe to the podcast, give us a rating, or write a review on iTunes or Spotify. And more inspirations can be found on musicthinking.com. We have a blog, and you can download the Music Thinking Framework. And finally, I would love to hear your feedback. And if you need help with a business challenge, please reach out to me via email podcast@musicthinking.com.